I'm so thrilled to be here. Now you heard what the sergeant announced here, right? No talking, no disturbing. Please, for this part, for the next 20 minutes, I want you to talk. That way I know you guys are awake. You guys need to use the bathroom, it's better to do it over there rather than here, right? So walk around, I have no issues, but ask me questions. Now what I'm going to do for the next 20 minutes is I'll give you some tips on what has worked for me and what I've noticed has worked for some of the Toastmasters, the senior people who have taken part in club, area and division contests. So let me start by asking, how many of you have attended the judges training? Okay, the rest of you, I don't know why you did not attend, but try to make it a point, if there's another training, attend that. Because in the judges training, the judges are given guidelines on how to vote for the best. You know, unfortunately, they only have to do that. They don't need to give feedback. They're going to vote for the best. The first, second and third is selected by them. Now you as contestants, when you come up here on a podium, at the club level, area or division level, you might think that it's like a club level. If a speaker is there at the club level, and you are an evaluator, what are you going to do? You're going to evaluate and give a candid opinion to a speaker. Like let's assume that this young gentleman here, he's given a speech. I'm talking to you. I'm establishing a rapport with you. I'm giving feedback knowing who you are. I know what are your strengths and weaknesses, and maybe a little earlier I spoke with you. At the contest, you don't know who the target speaker is. You don't have a rapport with the target speaker. You don't know his objectives. You do not know what to expect. You don't even know anything, including the title of the speech, till it's time for you to come up here and you listen to the target speaker. And you have 5 minutes to write down certain things that you're going to evaluate him on. Now, I'm going to spend the next few minutes explaining to you what wins and what is good, but not necessarily winning. Okay? So the first thing, the people who will make sure you win are the judges. Exactly. Very good. It is not the audience in the room. So when you are speaking, although you're going to make eye contact with the audience, try to figure out where are the judges sitting. If he's a judge, and how are you going to know he's a judge?
He has a folder.
He's got a folder and he's got a pen. So, at the very beginning, when the target speaker's up there in the room, look around in the audience. I'm not telling you to try to bribe them, although I don't think they can be bribed. 20 dinars, 50 dinars is not enough for them. They are true judges, Toastmaster spirit. They're going to be voting for the best. But when you make eye contact with them, you know exactly where the judge is. So when you're using a body language, he used such beautiful gestures. I could see him walking gracefully, and you're making eye contact with him. And you look at the other judge and say, but you know what? I felt he could have improved on his voice. It was a little soft at times, but I made eye contact with the other judge over there. And as I make eye contact with the 7 or 8 judges, what will they say? Yes, he did. I agree with him. I agree with him. And yes, you do have to make eye contact with the rest of the audience. Otherwise they'll say, there's Vasta, somebody, he's not the best guy who won. So what you have to do is you are speaking to the judges primarily. And that is why I would strongly encourage you to attend judges training to understand what are the judges looking for. Because at the end, they are the ones who are going to be voting for you. Now, few of the things that I have seen, and I have done this, is do not stick to the mundane, the basic. If the speaker was stammering, or if his English was not good, every contestant before you and every contestant after you are going to be saying the same thing. What is different about you that the judges will say, aha, he noticed that. Aha, that is a good point. So choose things that you don't expect others to pick on. And for this, you have to read your manual, Project 2, all the way to Project 10 carefully. Understand what it is to have a good triad, if they have triads or not. Understand the use of rhetorical devices, similes and metaphors, so you can give feedback about his use, and if he's a good speaker, his use of triads, metaphors, alliterations, and so forth. His good use of English. You might also want to brush up on project number 7, which is research your topic. How did you use research? Did they quote and cite the reference sources? You could talk about that. Because not a lot of the evaluators will be able to do this. You will be in the top 3, hopefully the one. Okay? So these are things that you need to do. Read your basic manuals, project 1, actually project 2 all the way to project 10. In addition to this, you are allowed to bring in your manuals and any other source of information to the contest. You can refer to it, take notes. But my suggestion is don't keep flipping through papers and making a little noise. So write down the key objectives on a piece of paper. And then you can, when you're making your notes in the 5 minutes when you're sequestered out of this room, you can refer to that and make your points. Once you have written down these points, summarize them into a 2 to 3 minute speech. Don't just have your little slip of paper with the 15 or 20 lines that you have written out here and come up here and say, first I would like to talk about, where is it? Here it is. First I would like to talk about his body language. Okay, if you have a lot of notes, summarize them into 3 or 4 points. Key points that you want to talk about. Once you have done that, you have those 5 minutes, you have written out your speech or your evaluation for 2 to 3 minutes. Spend the last 1 minute revising those notes. At the 5th minute, you have to give this little slip of paper back to the Sergeant at Arms. Generally, in good contests, there's one Sergeant at Arms, he'll make sure that there's no chance for you to keep practicing, so he'll talk to you, he'll ask you questions, but try to keep calm and think, what are the 5 or 6 points? Keep reinforcing them. Yes, you will have a chance to refer to your notes, but this will give you a chance to prepare, to practice. Rehearse some key things you want to say. Maybe where you want to stand, how you want to start your presentation. And this will give you a little advantage. Now ideally the first speaker is the one who sets the tone for the evaluation, and the last speaker is just wrapping up. It's like, okay, they all said the same thing. Your evaluator number 9, I've heard evaluators 1 through 8. What can you give me something new? Okay. The judges have listened to all this, so they're going to get quite bored. You have to stick out, and that is why you have to do research and reading. Now the next thing I want to share with you is, do we have to have a structure? Is there an opening, a body, and conclusion? What do you think? Yes? Yes. Feeble, yes. How many of you say it doesn't matter? How many of you say no need? You guys, how many of you are still awake? Okay, you guys are awake. Yes, you have to have an opening, a body, and a conclusion. Your opening has to be like a speech, memorized. Whatever you do, memorize your opening 1 or 2 lines. I remember when I was a contestant at DTM. It was 2003 or 4, I'm not sure, 4, I think it was in Jordan. I was very nervous. I was new in Toastmasters. It was a big auditorium, 600 people. And it was table topics. And I memorized the table topics. But unfortunately, the table topic was, you have to market cigarettes. You're the marketing executive of a tobacco company. You have to market the benefits of cigarettes. I don't smoke and I hate smoking. So I was stumped. But my opening line was, good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and dear friends. What a beautiful day it is today. And I have to strongly agree with the table topic master. But in this case, the topic was about smoking. I could not agree with him. So I got stumped. And I did not win, obviously. But in evaluation, you can. Remember who your target demographics are. They're Toastmasters. So I start with the line. Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, eminent panel of judges, and my target speaker, Mr. X or Toastmaster X. Today, and you have the first opening sentence, and then you move on. I have come here to give you my feedback based on what I saw, what I heard, and how I felt. To start with, and that gets you to the body of the speech. If you don't have an opening, and you straight away get to the body of the speech, the judges will get lost. They will feel like you have missed out something. So you have to have an opening. And in the conclusion, you have to rephrase, or in a way, paraphrase everything that you have said in the content of your speech, that is the body of your speech. Do not add anything new in the conclusion. So you have to have typically 2 to 3 points. 1 point that you liked, a second point maybe you want to support him, and 1 point to give him feedback to improve. Don't add more than 3 points. If you have to, add a 4th point, but no more than 3 to 4 points. Okay? So you have to have an opening, a body, and a conclusion. Very important. Now, how many of you have seen the judge's ballot form? A few of you. The rest of you have not. Do you want to see what the form looks like? Excellent. Oh, already up there. Okay, nice. Can we go down a little bit? Yeah, can you go down? Okay, the first part is, this is the judge's form. Now here, there are 4 components in the judge's form. This I presume is a pen, right? The first part is the analytical quality. Now you see the analytical quality is 40%. The highest the judges will give you is 40%. How do you analyze the speaker? How would you analyze? Is it a good speech? Not a good speech. What are the strong points he has? What are the points for improvement? What are things that he cannot do? You cannot ask an Indian to have an American accent. You cannot have someone who's 21 years old to speak with confidence and maturity of a 35, 40-year-old person. So you don't give feedback to somebody which is not practically possible. Is it realistic? Is it attainable? If it's not realistic and it's not attainable, let's not touch upon that. That is his weakness. That is his Achilles heel. But if you can talk about speaking confidently, that anyone can do. A 21-year-old versus an 80-year-old. So you can touch upon those type of things. So you analyze. Was it clear and focused? Was the speech, giving your feedback, was it focused on the key scopes of improvement and the key things that the person did well and could have done better? Was the fact that they used notes important, relevant? Was that good analytical quality or not? Remember, this is 4 out of 10 points, 40% of your points. If you do good on this, you're in the top 3. If you goof up over here, the chances of you winning have gone down considerably. Now the next thing is here, the recommendation. Here we have to be positive, specific and helpful. I see a lot of times weaknesses of our club coming out at the area and the club contest. We say, you know what, ours is an advanced club. Ours is a Native American club. Ours is a mature club. We give critical feedback to our members. Yes, great. On a club level, you can give critical feedback. But at an area and division level, remember our Toastmaster pledge. Supportive and positive learning experience. Is being critical harsh? Is being over-aggressive the right way? Maybe at your club level, yes. But when it comes to a contest, let's ask yourself, is the speaker benefiting from it? Is it positive? Is the audience benefiting from it? Is it positive? Are potential Toastmasters benefiting from it? Is it positive? If you feel it is not positive, drop it. Do not bring up something that can hurt the target speaker or Toastmasters in general. If you feel the person was speaking too soft and it's going to hurt his feelings because he's a new speaker, he or she is a 21, 22-year-old and will demotivate them, let's not talk about that. Let us be positive. But remember, this gets only 30%. When I say only 30%, although it's second in place, these two comprise 70% of your speech. You have to be positive all through. You can give private feedback later on, but for the contest, let's not do that. You have to be specific. Don't use things like, you could have spoken louder. Louder when? Which part of your speech? Do you mean that my full 7 minutes had to be loud? Then let's keep that aside. There's a weakness. But you could have said certain specific areas could have been a little louder. Especially when you were quoting Martin Luther King or Mahatma Gandhi. Could you have said it a little louder because we could not hear exactly what was being said? That is specific. So when you're telling them speak louder and clearer, specify where you want them to speak louder and clearer. Don't just make a generic sentence because your evaluation has to be specific. When you're saying, I want to see a little bit more movement, do you want them to move all the time? I mean, this is not, a Bollywood dance and show, right? You don't want the guy to keep moving. You want him to move at specific times. You could have said, you remember the time you were telling us a story about your grandmother who was not well? At that time, I would like you to pause. At that time, I would have liked you to do this and this and this. Because I felt, although you had good vocal variety, your movement was quite distracting. Now at that time, you can say, don't walk around too much. Rather than just saying, you were walking around aimlessly. Be specific where you want to give feedback. And, very important, the helpful part. The positive and helpful, in a way, go hand in hand. If I give you a feedback saying, you've got a very strong South Indian accent, can I change your accent in the next 6 months? No. Is that helpful? No. So don't give them something which is not practically possible to change. Maybe this is something they can look into over a period of time. Now these two things take up 70%. Now I'm going to jump at the very end, which is the summation, which is 15%. You have to conclude. Conclusion is paramount. You have to conclude by stating what you have given them feedback and how they can use this feedback to become better. So don't just say, well, I hope my feedback was good to you and I look forward to the next project. Thank you. Walk away. Could you tell us what exactly you told us to do? Re-emphasize your conclusion. Now your conclusion ideally should be no longer than 30 seconds. You have a total speech of approximately 3.5 minutes, 2 minutes minimum, 3 minutes maximum, 30 seconds grace after that. Don't get into your conclusion when you see the red. Go into your conclusion when you see the yellow. Yellow is a time for you to say, okay, I've reached the end of, or the midpoint of my speech. No more new material is being added. I had point number 3 to give you, but oops, I ran out of time. So I'm only going to stick with 2 points. Let me go to the conclusion. Because if your conclusion is rushed, if your conclusion is too fast, you lose this 15 points. And that is the difference between the winner and the first runner-up, is this 15 points, the summation. I've seen a lot of speakers, and I've been a judge multiple times. I see a lot of speakers, they get beautiful feedback, nice evaluation, quite critical, very insightful, very positive. But they were so fast at the end, it's like, oh my God, they ran out of time. Now we as judges, we don't see the time. But when we see this, we know, okay, it was a red flag, right buddy? That's why you were so fast. So make sure you stick to the time. Use the yellow as an opportunity to wind your speech. Do not wait till red. Yes, you have a good 3rd point. You might have a great 4th point. You might have the winning 5th point. But when you see the yellow, stop with the message that you had and start moving into your conclusion. Your conclusion will typically take 20 to 30 seconds. It should be very succinct. Succinct means very sharp and crisp. And it should be such a way that the audience has a take-home message. And very specifically, the judge is sitting out there, they say, man, this guy prepared well. This guy is a great, confident evaluator. Look, this person knows what he was saying. He listened to the speaker. He was clear and focused. He was positive. He was helpful. He was insightful. And yes, he was concise and encouraging. And therefore, I am going to give him a chance to move forward to the next level. Very important is the conclusion. Now the technique. Now this is something I tell you, technique is your technique. I have a unique technique. It's my technique. Nobody should copy it. It's copyrighted, trademarked. Anil Lobo, TM on top. And there's a reason I'm saying this. If you try to emulate my style, you lose your style. If I try to emulate your style, I lose my style. My style is unique to me. It has worked for me. It might work for you, but definitely your style will work for you. You choose your technique. You build it, you develop it, you massage it, you do it in such a way that over a period of time, people will say, hey, I like Raymond's technique. I like Bindu's technique. I like Elvis's technique. In fact, I love Satyamurthy's humorous technique. Everyone thinks that I'm the only one laughing at his jokes. He pees me probably. But I like this technique. He's got a very nice technique of a humorous speech. Each one of you is an individual. That technique is how you work on it. It could be systematic, it could be sensitive, it could be motivational, and there are different styles. Now, this here has got 15 points too. How you use your technique to the best of your ability is again between the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. These are the top 3. These two, technique and summation, is what keeps you in the winning position or makes you 2nd place or 3rd place. By just focusing on this 2 but not focusing on these 3, you will not be in the top 3. To be in the top 3, you have to be analytical and you must have good recommendations. In other words, your feedback must be precise. Now, I have taken part in multiple contests. Thank you very much for your time. I've taken part in multiple contests at the club level, area level, division level, and a few times at DTAC. And I tell you one thing that I have learned over these years. Winning is not important. Okay, great. You don't get a parking spot in at your company saying reserved for winner at DTAC. No, nothing like that. You don't get a bonus, you don't get a promotion. Your wife will not cook you better food. You came from DTAC, alright, you're a winner. In fact, my wife looks at the trophy and says, oh my God, one more thing to clean. So, what is the reason we do this. We do this for one important reason. To get us the satisfaction that we are doing good, we are improving. We are reaching a higher level. A third trophy, a fourth trophy means I'm a little better than the last time. That's what you should focus on. If you focus on winning, and you spend so much time and effort, and you come up here and you go back disappointed because you did not win, the very fact that you're taking part is for the wrong reason. Take part to learn, to benefit, to grow. And learn every time. If you don't win this time, understand what went wrong. Redo it again next year, and the year after next. I assure you, all of you, the very fact that you've come here for this workshop, you're going to win. I can assure you this. This year, I'm not sure. Next year, I'm not sure, but one day you are going to win. And even if you don't win the little trophy, I can assure you, you have already won. You're going to become good evaluators at your workplace, at your social life, with your children, with your family, and especially with your spouse. Trust me, that's very important. How to be critical feedback to your wife when she asks you, does this look nice? Don't give a 2 to 3 minute speech. One tack, you'll get to the back of the head. Now, I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions. I'm willing to answer these questions. We are out of my scheduled time. Maybe during the break we can answer some of the questions. If not, you can ask Bindu or send an email to her, and she will definitely send them to me, and I will help you answer the questions. With this, I would like to hand over to this massive ceremony.